Hello! If you've been anywhere near a radio playing contemporary pop or rock music in the last year, you've heard Rein Me In by Sam Fender and Olivia Dean. Even if you swear you've only ever clicked on it once on Spotify, sometimes you might feel like you've heard it 100 times. And to be honest, you probably have. Rein Me In is a story about streaming culture, playlist algorithms, and just how big a song can feel when two massive contemporary pop artists come together. So join me, Don Huddersfield, as we ask, how did Rein Me In get so big? To understand the scale of this thing, you have to look at how long it's been hanging around. It didn't arrive with massive fireworks or debut at number one, or have a viral dance challenge. It was actually an album track at first, and was the fourth official single from Sam Fender's third album, People Watching, after the title track, Arm's Length, a little bit closer. It actually crept to the top spot. No song has taken longer to reach number one from within the top 40. It sat in the charts for months, slowly getting a little higher until it finally reached the top, and then refused to leave for more than a week or two to make way for people like Harry Styles. It's recently been lodged at number one for 7 consecutive weeks, including the one it's just clocked up. It's become the kind of hit that feels permanent, like it's going to be number one forever. What makes everything even stranger is that Rein Me In wasn't even the obvious single. As I said before, it started as an album track and was tucked away on the second half of People Watching. Last summer, after the album had already been out quite a few months, he reworked the song into a duet with Olivia Dean. Normally by that point, album campaigns are winding down and the label is starting to think about the next era. But the new version lit the fuse. They did live performances of it together, and the added verse and the emotional interaction between the two turned a good album track into a slow-burning, streaming juggernaut. And here's another thing, for a lot of Sam Fender fans, it's not even his best song. It's not as epic or gritty as The Borders, or as gut-punchingly powerful as 17 Going Under, but that tells us a lot about its popularity. It's simpler, warmer, and easier to live with. Lyrically, it's all about self-sabotage and running away from intimacy. Musically, it's all soft piano, a catchy bass line, and a classic shuffling drum beat. It's the kind of track people play every day without getting tired of it, and that's what streaming services and the charts love. This is where the playlist echo chamber theory comes in. Once Rein Me In landed on the big editorial playlists like Hot Hits UK, it became part of people's lives whether they chose it or not. It was on in the gym, in shops, in offices, in pubs, in cafes, it was everywhere. Passive streams can't be the same as deliberate ones, so even if you just put Hot Hits UK on and that comes on, you're contributing to its chart run whether you like it or not. Sam Fender's journey to this point makes everything even more fascinating. For years he was the opposite of a top 40 singles act. Songs like Hypersonic Missiles and Dead Boys did well on the radio, but they didn't touch the top 40. He built his career the old school way, with a lot of relentless touring, word of mouth, and albums people actually listened to more than once. He didn't look or sound like the usual Sheeran-esque male solo star. He was political, angry, and he was singing about austerity, suicide, toxic masculinity, and life in a neglected part of England. Hence, all these Springsteen comparisons. He stood out because he wasn't trying to fit in. Olivia Dean has a different style. Her sounds all about classic jazz, soul, R&B and 60s style songwriting, but she does have more modern and conversational lyrics. If you're an older listener, you might like her because she reminds you of Dusty Springfield, Motown, or even Amy Winehouse. If you're a younger listener, you might find yourself hearing something warm and honest in an era where hyper-processed pop can seem to dominate. Fender kind of does this from the rock side, and together they've created a duet that people are saying sounds timeless. Mums like it, young lads like it, granddads nod along as well. That kind of cross-generational appeal is rare, and it's a huge part of why certain songs stay at number one for so long. Yet another strange thing about Rein Me In is that it's actually now 2 singles old. Since it came out as a duet last summer, other Sam Fender tracks have been released to streaming services and radio, including the Elton John collaboration Talk to You, which briefly went top 20 but sunk quite fast, and The Treadmill from the deluxe version of the album. They've been and gone. Rein Me In is still at the top of the charts. And even though it's the 4th official single from the album, it's become the one that's ended up defining the whole era. One of the biggest reasons the duet version resonates so much with people is the massive emotional weight of the lyrics. The The song's parts are full of self-loathing, regret, and the instinct to run away from anything that feels too real. He portrays a man who knows he's sabotaged something good, is walking through town, haunted by memories that he can't escape, and is clinging to numbness because stopping to feel anything would just hurt too much. When Olivia enters, the whole emotional landscape shifts. Her verse is tender, slightly disappointed, but very patient. She gently calls him out and reminds him that disappearing isn't bravery and that he's terrified of the very things he needs. When they finally sing together, it feels like two people trying to reach out to each other through the fog of pride, guilt and regret. It's rare for a modern number one hit to feel this honest and emotionally powerful, and that's a huge part of why listeners keep coming back to it. It's seen off a lot of serious competition as well. Earlier this year, big songs that didn't quite reach number one straight away in the autumn finally got there, including songs by Dave and Ray, and it's also seen off two Harry Styles number ones, which actually were released this year. If you think things have been slow in terms of new hits so far in 2026, you're not wrong. The official Chartzone quarterly update basically confirms this. Not a single one of the 10 biggest songs of the year so far was actually released in 2026. The top 10 is made up entirely of 2025 hits and catalogue tracks that stretch all the way back to 2015. High Lush Life. In other words, the biggest songs of the year aren't really songs that belong to this year at all. And at number 2 in this list of the supposed biggest songs of the year, just behind Olivia Dean's own massive solo hit Man I Need, is Rein Me In. It's now had 43 consecutive weeks in the top 100, and 42 of them have been in the top 40. Even the system that the chart company designed to get rid of old hits isn't slowing it down. In fact, there's been a reset after the track streams dropped less than the wider market, so it didn't have its stream values chopped in half like it otherwise would have done. Yes, I know it's complicated. We now have a top 40 where only a handful of recently released tracks are showing any momentum. All supports the same idea. The charts just aren't really exciting to follow anymore. Many listeners are creatures of habit and they don't grow tired of the biggest tracks around until maybe 6 months after you have, which means the charts have started to look as stagnant as they were before ACR was brought in. This has made a lot of music fans wonder if the chart itself needs another shake-up. The whole point of ACR, which stands for Accelerated Chart Ratio, was to stop old hits clogging up the top 40 forever. In theory, once a song had been around for long enough, naturally fall in popularity after maybe 10 or 12 weeks, and if it didn't, the value of its streams would be downgraded to make way for new music. However, the system is just too easy to game. All an artist has to do to make the clock reset is release a new physical version. Could be a signed CD, a limited edition vinyl like the North Shields version of Rein Me In, or a remix bundle, and then the clock usually resets. The chart basically treats the song as new again, and back up it goes. Sam Fender, or his label, definitely isn't the only one doing this. He's not doing anything wrong, he's just playing by the rules that exist. But it shows that those rules aren't really working anymore. If the same handful of songs can sit in the top 40 for months, barely moving, and are constantly refreshed by new formats, and supported by playlists, where does that leave new acts and songs that need the exposure a top 40 chart position gets them? Where does that leave the strange, risky, daring, exciting songs that used to sneak into the top 20 for a week before quickly disappearing, but cementing their place in the pop history books nonetheless? When the charts move quickly, the charts show felt like a weekly event rather than a tedious slog through the same songs in a slightly different order from the previous week. The charts used to be fun, they used to be chaotic. Almost every song you heard on daytime radio went top 40, and most people under 40 actually knew it was number one. The Sunday chart shows a joy to listen to, and you'd be on 10 hooks all week waiting to find out where your favourite song had landed. Even long forgotten indie bands who might as well have never existed got a week at number 37 to tell the grandkids about. Now it's the same songs, barely moving for months. It's no wonder it's only really loyal long-term chart fans paying any attention now. And here's another important thing. Songs can now go platinum without ever even touching the top 40. Slow-burning tracks can quietly accumulate streams for months or even years and end up certified without ever being considered a hit in the traditional way. Now that the chart tracks what people are playing rather than what they're buying, We have to face it to the fact that people don't always like what they're playing. They might quickly bang a hits playlist on when they go for a run, or strip the entire top 40 itself. This creates an echo chamber and slows it down even more. This is why so many people are wondering if the chart's even relevant. Is it measuring popularity, or just registering background noise? At the same time, it's still important to say this. Rein Me In totally deserves to be big. It's a beautifully written and performed song by two highly respected young musicians that clearly connects with millions of people. It's emotional but not melodramatic, catchy but not annoying until you've heard it 100 times, and genuinely warm without lapsing into blandness. It's the kind of song that's great to return to if you can somehow manage to get a break from it for a fortnight or so. And how many other number one singles can you name with the word tinnitus in them? So, how did Rein Me In get so big? It's a mixture of reasons. It's an emotionally powerful duet between two of the biggest pop acts of 2026. It's cross-generational. It's on every hits playlist going, and has seen very few high-profile tracks threaten to end its run for good over the past couple of months. It's also a great reward for years of hard graft from Fender and Olivia Dean, who also had to wait quite a few years to score the mega hits she's getting today. It also tells us a lot about how today's charts work, almost completely differently to how they behaved back in the 80s, 90s and noughties. And that was How Did Rein Me In Get So Big. I've been Don Huddersfield. Join us next time.